everybody, I'm sitting down today here with Annie Spano. She is the lifestyle entrepreneur, blogger, influencer, founder of Style Collective, and recent podcaster. Thanks so much for joining me on the show, Annie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. I've been a part of Style Collective for about a year now, and I love it so much. I love everything about it. I love using it as a resource, connecting with people. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in influencer marketing, and how you got, how you created Style Collective.
Okay, so when I was working, I had a work bully, and she made me feel inadequate, and I was depressed, and I felt really down about myself, and I was trying to figure out ways to get out of that situation. So after I graduated from my MBA program, I started a blog, and I called it Collective Passions, because my goal was to bring entrepreneurs together and create this collaborative community where I could mentor them about entrepreneurship. I had all these new skills from business school, and I just wanted to help people. And I thought that there was some bit of value that I could bring to the world. Right. And so that's what I had started, and didn't really know what I was doing, and just kind of figured it out as I went. And eventually I just got to know influencers, fashion bloggers specifically, that had started blogs. And I was like, wow, this looks really cool. This is really interesting what they're doing. And so I got to know them, and then I decided that I wanted to have a fashion blog.
Right, right.
So I then started using Collective Passions. I was talking about business and leadership and entrepreneurship, and then I started talking about fashion trends. And then used my blog, I leveraged my blog to pitch myself as a marketing expert, marketing and merchandising expert.
I've done that. Well, you are, you're in the marketing world. They feed into each other.
Yeah. So I pitched a local boutique in Portsmouth, and I said, I literally messaged them on Facebook because I couldn't get through on their phone. Their phone was busy or disconnected or something. Mm-hmm. And I said, I want to be a consultant for you. And I have this really great idea of how I can sell Chloe and Isabel jewelry in your store, and you can let me keep the commission, and in exchange, I will give you marketing services. I'll help you plan events. I will do outreach for you. We'll do some cross promotions with other restaurants and a nail bar in the city. Wow. So I did all of this for about a year, and went in, I had a 20-page proposal, and she loved it and said yes. So I did consulting, I did my fashion blog, I started doing influencer marketing to really get in the head of influencers and learn the industry. Mm-hmm. I worked with brands like Coach and Suja, Movement watches.
That blog was called The Lovely Girl?
Yes, so then I rebranded to The Lovely Girl in February of 2016, I think. Or I don't know, I'll have to go back, and it's all blurred to me. But eventually I rebranded to The Lovely Girl to try to have that persona around the blog and what it was, and what I wanted the person to feel like when they were reading it. And while I was doing that, figuring out influencer marketing and getting to know all of these other fashion bloggers, rewind back to May of 2015, I was trying to grow my Instagram account when I'd started it. Right. Just like everyone's always trying to grow their Instagram account.
Always trying to grow my Instagram account.
Yeah.
So if you guys are watching, follow me. Follow us.
And follow us. So back then, Loop giveaways had just started.
Right.
And I was like, I want to host a Loop giveaway. I see other people doing it. But I had maybe 500 followers. And I was like, I'm going to host a Loop giveaway. So I would reach out to people that had 50,000 followers, and I'd say,
really?
Yeah. I would message them on Instagram and be like, I'm hosting a Loop giveaway. Do you want to join my Loop giveaway? And I got people to join it. And then we were all chatting in these DM groups, and everybody was sharing tips with each other and asking questions. And I realized that I loved this little direct message community of fashion bloggers sharing information. And so I really wanted to become part of a fashion blogging community. Right. So I looked around online. I couldn't find one that resonated with me and what I was looking for. And then a lot of the questions they were asking, you have to Google things, Pinterest things, can't find the answers. You don't know what's real, what's a scam, what's clickbait, right? And so that was so frustrating. I couldn't find anything that I needed in order to be an influencer. So eventually the DM groups moved into a Facebook group, which was September of 2015. Mm-hmm. And we started with a Facebook group. And then I remember come November, I said to the girls, there were 65 of us in this group. That's the little small group, that I had cultivated. Yep. So I called them the founding members, and I got on a webinar with them. I put together a whole deck and a presentation and a business plan.
This flash forward to the future. This is becoming fearless. 100% becoming fearless. It's all coming together now.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was still working my full-time job at this point.
Okay.
And so I put together this presentation and said, this is what I want to do at Style Collective. There's no platform out there for influencers to connect with each other. Yes, there's tons of Facebook groups, but
there was not a lot.
There's not a lot. The resources, I'm a former mathematics teacher. I'm certified in the state of New Jersey. I have marketing experience, corporate experience. I have my MBA. I have all these new skills, and I have this drive and this passion to help people and create something new and exciting that doesn't exist. I was so miserable in the hours of 9 to 5 with the work bully. Oh. And then I had this renewed sense of passion and purpose outside of those hours when I was working with those women and trying to help them build their blogs and their businesses. So I told them what I wanted to do. I wanted to launch it into a business and charge, a monthly fee, because I have to get money somehow. I don't have funding. And they were all cool with it. And for me, I was like, oh, thank God I have the support of these women, because if they didn't support the idea, I wouldn't have done it.
Right.
I don't want to come off as a phony or a scammer or, anything that's not authentic to what I'm trying to do. But they loved the idea. They thought it was great. So I went ahead with it, and I put in my notice at my job. I finally
Which was probably a relief because of the work bully.
It was a relief, but it was so scary because I was so reluctant to give up my salary. I did not want to give up my salary because...
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I mean,
really scary to give that up.
That's a huge step.
Yeah, especially because I had just finished business school. I now have student loans. My husband had started a business after college. In the first 5 years that we were married, he wasn't making any money at his startup. So I was really scared, what if I don't make money? What if I don't succeed? I don't want to go back to just one income. We could barely buy groceries.
Yeah, and then that's putting the pressure on your marriage too. So juggling all of that, I don't even know how you did it.
It was a lot. It was definitely heavy at times, but you just keep pushing through, and you keep moving forward, and you keep going after it. You just have to have this sense of grit and know that you're going for something that's bigger.
I love that.
You're trying to achieve something bigger than you. And so, so I put my notice in. I was so scared. I did it. And then it was during the holidays, so then it was Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh my goodness, so you just piled everything on top, and you're okay, I'm gonna quit my job. We don't have anything, but we're gonna go for it. I love that. That's what I love.
And so my husband has been such a key component to helping me with the back end of setting up the website, setting up the platform, really talking about the strategy of what Style Collective is, the vision of it. Mm-hmm. We worked on getting the website up and setting up everything in the back end. Mm-hmm. Launched on February 22nd of 2016. And I remember the first month, it was wow, I got 16 members in 10 days.
Wait, in 10 days, that's pretty good.
It was really good, yeah. And so just did everything and worked really hard to do the marketing and the branding and keep up with social media and create the content and the materials and doing all of that outreach and getting people on board and answering emails and questions. And when you start a business, you have to do everything. And so I would stay up until 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd wake up early, and I always made sure that I got my workout in the morning. But after that, I was, head down at my desk working until midnight for the first year was like that. Wow. Every single day, and working through weekends as well.
Very focused, very driven.
I have my eye on the prize.
And
I really want to help people and change women's lives because of the experience I went through with the work bully. So then back to my blog, I decided to rebrand my blog again because I felt like I really had a good grasp on the industry and what it was about and what people wanted and needed. And I'm always serving my users. I call them users because that's the technical word you use in the industry. But I'm serving the girls, and I'm always trying to get inside their heads and ask them, what do you need? What do you want? So I decided to rebrand my blog into just anniespano.com as a reflection of me for people who want to get to know the person behind Style Collective, the struggles that I go through, because I still have things that I struggle with, the things that motivate me, the ways that I dealt with the work bully. Like, I just try to be really real with my experiences and talk about them in that space now, rather than using it as a platform for influencer marketing.
Plus, it helps you connect with the women that are in Style Collective. You know, you can say like, look, I've been there. I know what you're going through. I know what challenges you're facing. I know how brands are going to contact you and what questions you might have about following up with them, all sorts of stuff like that. So I think I thought the rebranding was a great move. I was there for that. I was like creeping on anniespano.com. And it looks great, by the way. You guys should check out our website, anniespano.com. I'm always throwing plugs in there at the camera.
I know, I love it. You're so supportive.
So back to what we were saying, how has your vision of Style Collective changed since its first launch?
Okay, so the thing that I set out to do at the very beginning was create a space for women to connect with each other. So cultivate community and a support system. And then also the education, the resources, the tools, the templates, all the things that you need to be a blogger, like a one-stop shop of everything that you would need to learn and to set yourself up for success. So fast forward 15 months later, I've achieved that. I'm so proud to say that, you know, the website is what I wanted it to be. The platform is there now. So the vision, now that I'm really like have a deep understanding of this industry, my vision has evolved. And so the vision now is for it to really become a platform for influencers to learn how to be entrepreneurs, brands to come on, and they can also learn how to use social media, those effectively. Yeah, so we'll have resources for them too. Like, I'm coming out with an e-course for them about how to master influencer marketing. And right now it's in a Word document. It's 15 pages of like dense copy. But, so that'll be done next week. But the platform I'm launching for brands is for them to be able to reach out to influencers directly for campaigns. Because right now you guys can reach out to brands, but there needs to be that, you know, transitive property where they reach out to you guys.
Can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm so excited to get on there and be like, hey, come on the Rachel review, like bring your brand on board. I mean, it's so helpful. I'm so excited to hear that.
Yeah, and it's great too because it's not just brands, it's also, a lot of companies have reached out to me that are like influencer platforms. So they have brands on their platforms and they're looking for influencers to join their platforms, which is free because they monetize off of just the brands.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
And they take a cut from whatever they pay influencers.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like brands want to come on, influencer networks want to come in. We're trying to collaborate with other smaller blogging communities, like little niche blogging communities, and form partnerships with them too.
So it's more of like
on Style Collective.
Like what you were saying with building this community mindset instead of this competition mindset, even with the servicing industries that aren't necessarily bloggers or influencers, they're even coming together to sort of grow. It's like the wild, wild west. It's like there's the web, really you know. I forget, maybe this was Lauren from
Skinny Confidential?
From the Skinny Confidential. I was reading her quote the other day that was like, the TV gave us actors and actresses, I'm trying to think, I can't even think, I'm butchering the quote, but basically she ends the quote with, and the internet gave us influencers. You know, so it's like the media defines then the type of, I don't want to say celebrity, but personality that comes out of that, so.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So then the other part of it is to bring consumers onto the platform because bloggers need readers. So, you know, I'm also a very strong believer in bloggers being entrepreneurs. Having your own products and services. Yeah, because you can only make so much money from advertising, affiliate marketing, sponsorships. Putting all your eggs in the sponsorship basket is just not a good idea. You have to diversify your revenue.
Of course.
So I think having your own products and services, and so we're going to be creating a marketplace. So you can have your products and services that your readers can buy from you, like styling services or an ebook of all the latest trends.
Right.
I know some of the girls want to do social media consulting for brands, so you can have your own consulting services or courses for the brands that are also on the platform. Some of the other ideas I've seen people have like their own subscriptions to their blogs as well, like, and you get exclusive content for like $5 a month. Like, I'm really interested in Twitch TV and what they do with all their.
What is Twitch?
Okay, so Twitch TV has been acquired by Amazon, but basically it's a platform for video gamers. And
I've heard of Twitch.
Yes. And people subscribe $5 a month and they give random donations during the day as somebody's playing their video game, and you're just like live streaming the entire day. Watching someone
play a video game.
Watching someone play a video game.
I heard that the girls on that, because it's mostly like a male community, that when there's a girl on there, she like shoots to the top of the game because like they're all like watching her play video games.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is
I
good.
think that's
Good
really
stuff.
cool that media is becoming paid. Like, you're able to make money by creating media from the people that are consuming your media, not the people that you're paying for advertising. Because then, if you're so concerned with getting money from advertisers and brands, you're servicing them and making sure that they're happy. You're not servicing your readers. If your readers are paying you, you're 100% laser focused on making sure that they're happy.
Exactly.
So that's where I think the media industry is going, and that's why I want to create Style Collective to be a platform where people are servicing who really matters, the readers.
Right. It's like, you know, you watch TV and they've got these ads for tires and you're like, great, I was watching, you know, the morning news. I don't really care about tires, but you know what I'm saying? And versus like, you know, you're on your blog or your, you know, whatever platform you're using for social media and you're saying, you know, I know that you guys all love hair care. This is the hair care I use. It's way more authentic, way more personal. And it actually helps the person watching and helps the advertiser too, because they're reaching that targeted market.
Yeah, you definitely have to make sure that the brand is a good fit.
Right.
When you're advertising. Yeah. So then some of the other things that I have a vision for are conferences and workshops in 2018. So we will be having a conference in 2018 down in Raleigh.
Collective, the conference. I'm going to be there.
Probably we'll start planning it after I move down to Raleigh this fall. But
so in the middle of all of this,
2018.
you're also moving, which is like just piling everything on. You like to work under pressure. I can tell already. You like, you know, struggle, bring it, I'm going to do it, and just go through it. I'm Annie. That's what I picture.
I do. I like to have like a million things that I have to juggle. I don't know. It makes me more focused, I think, when I have a deadline or I'm under pressure. But the other thing too is workshops. I'm bringing my first full-time employee on next month, which is exciting and scary at the same time because now someone's dependent on me to, you know, pay the bills and all that stuff. But so she's a teacher for 10 years and she's gonna be really focused on all the educational content for members. And we want to do workshops in 2018 where we have trained members and they become certified Style Collective teachers. And then they have a local workshops it's kind of like the next level of the meetups that have been happening. So now we have these workshops where you pay like $25 or $50 and still going through like figuring out how much it will be. And we would do revenue sharing with the teacher so that they can get paid for teaching a workshop. They can have a panel and have guest speakers come in, ask questions. So we create the e-course, we teach them how to teach it. And then that way we're able to have an even bigger impact because there's all these workshops going on all over the country, which is way more than, like I could never fly all around the country and teach these courses. I have to leverage my people and have them do it. And I don't want them to do it for free. Yeah, so it's all about, you know, scale and trying to leverage the network.
Oh my goodness.
So those are like the two big things, like the next level for the platform and then all of the teaching and the...
So transitioning from teaching, right? What have you learned since founding Style Collective? What's the biggest lesson that you've learned personally or in business since founding Style Collective?
Okay, so I can speak to both of those, business and personal.
Okay.
So with the business side, I would say that I was very driven to start Style Collective. I had felt so suppressed and undervalued and just basically worthless in my corporate job. And you know, it is what it is. And you're basically like, someone said to me one time in the office that it's like a big ship. You're steering a big ship and you want to have all these great ideas and all these things you want to do to like grow the business and do all these changes, but like you can only move the needle so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many other moving parts when you work in a large organization. So realizing that I had a lot of ideas and things I wanted to do and like I couldn't do them, once I started Style Collective, I was like, I'm gonna do them all, like hit the ground running and just like go 100 miles an hour, work from the first time, like I wake up after I work out, I go to work, and then I stay up until 11, 12 o'clock at night doing work. And so I did that for the first year, and eventually I got to this point where I was like, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. I'm in this for the long term. I've known that since the beginning, but I was just so thirsty for doing something that made an impact and wanting to grow it and just constantly add new things all the time, always create value. So that was, I would say like that was the biggest thing I learned, how to slow down. And then the other part of it is...
I need to learn that so much.
Yeah.
Slowing down.
Slowing down and then making time for yourself is also really important. I think entrepreneurs feel like they don't deserve that space to take some time away, but it's really important because if you don't do that, you can burn out. So if you're feeling like you're losing your motivation, it's really important to realize you have to create that space, like go for a walk, go for a hike, go work out, go hang out with your friends,
Get a manicure.
call your sister or your family, like do something totally not related to your business and it'll almost reset you. So I think that's the biggest thing I've learned how to do is say like, you know what, it's okay if I want to take one weekend day and just turn off.
Right. And I think just you were saying that all of the girls on Style Collective, you're training them to be entrepreneurial. With social media, it's, where do you shut off, this is my business and my brand and my blog, and this is me time. I think that's so important with influencer marketing.
Yeah. I think that when you are an entrepreneur, it's integrated with your life. And so there's no work-life balance. Like if you are trying to achieve work-life balance, it means that you're in a job that you're miserable with.
Yeah.
And you have to like balance it out with stuff that you like. But if you're an entrepreneur or a blogger and you're doing it full time, it just becomes part of who you are. So you have to figure out like when you're gonna work, when you're gonna take breaks, when you're gonna go do this and that. And it's just, you learn it as you go.
Right.
Yeah.
What excites you the most about Style Collective?
The thing that excites me the most is being able to give women opportunities to help them get out of situations where they're not happy, they're not feeling fulfilled, they don't have a sense of purpose in their everyday life. I think our generation is very much about having a sense of purpose and contributing to something bigger than themselves. And I just listened to the Mark Zuckerberg commencement speech, and he talked about how our generation is the most charitable. 3 out of 4 people contribute to charities or raise money for charities. So I think, having a sense of purpose is really important for our generation, and I love that I'm able to cultivate that.
So as a successful lifestyle entrepreneur, what do you do? What tactics do you employ when you find yourself stuck in a rut, when you're discouraged, when you're mentally in a place where you're like, I can't go on? What tactics do you use to say like, no, you're gonna keep going?
Okay, so I think there's a couple of things happening here. When I'm in a rut, I think the thing that drives me every single day is I have my eye on the prize. I know the big picture, I know the goal, I know where I'm going. Okay. And I know that I have to take little incremental baby steps every single day that eventually add up to something big once a year or 2 years have passed. And so knowing where I'm going and what I want to achieve helps drive me and motivate me every single day. On the other side, when I start to feel like I'm burned out and I'm in a rut, I have to take a step back. I have to clear my head. I have to do something totally non-social media, non-Style Collective related for myself. So like up here in the winter, it's cloudy and cold and depressing, right? So I have to like really get creative with the way that I stay motivated. So I'll go for a workout, I'll go to a spin class, I'll cook something that's like satisfying and nutritious for me that will give me energy. I stop and I read a book, I'll call a friend, or another thing that I like to do is when I'm feeling like a little, like I'm not so motivated, is I love meeting Style Collective women in person. So one of my,
it's so
much fun. So one of my personal goals is to like travel more. When I was in my corporate job, I never traveled anywhere. I just stayed in like my little cube and never went anywhere. And so I wanted to travel more. And so I've gone to all different cities and I've met Style Collective women in person, and I pick their brains. I say, like, what do you love about blogging? What do you love about Style Collective? What do you need help with? What do you wish we had that we don't have? And so I love getting that in-person interaction and hearing the positive stories of women that they've had from being part of Style Collective. And so that will help me. I'll think back to those moments, and that will motivate me at a time where I'm feeling really down. So I think, it's important.
Back to the positive.
And some people, like I've heard Tim Ferriss, he has this thing called the Jar of Awesome. And every time, and every time something really good happens, he writes it down on a piece of paper and puts it in his Jar of Awesome, so that when he's feeling down or not motivated, he'll go get his Jar of Awesome and he'll like read all the awesome things that he's done. And he'll be like, oh my God, like I did this. And could you forget about those things?
Well, your mind is wired to always harbor on the negative, because it's like, it's protecting you. So you remember the negative more so than you remember the positive. So that's a great tip for focusing on the positive and reminding yourself of how awesome you are and how you can do it, whatever it is you're doing. And
and I think surrounding yourself with positive people, having positive quotes around you, like whatever it is that makes you happy.
So positive people, who are some of your biggest influences and people that you look up to, and why?
Okay, so I have two that come to mind. One of them is actually new to me. I know everyone is obsessed with Kendra Scott, but I'm a little late to the party.
Oh no, I'm late to the party too. I'm late to the party too.
I just got my first piece of jewelry from her last summer.
See those earrings.
I have these earrings. My sister got me these for Christmas. But I love her, not for her jewelry. Yes, her jewelry is gorgeous. But I love her story. I just listened to an interview she did on How I Built This, which is a podcast. And they interviewed her, and she told her story of how she started her business. And I just admire her so much for having grit. It's like the number one thing you have to have as an entrepreneur. So she built her jewelry business in her spare bedroom. She made these pieces. She didn't know how to design jewelry. She went to a jewelry designing school. She is a college dropout, and she's married with a new baby, and she learned how to create jewelry and saw this need for high quality jewelry at an affordable price point. She went around to all the local boutiques in Austin and with her samples and said, do you want to buy my jewelry? Nobody knew who she was. She was nobody. And they all bought it from her. So then she had to go home and remake it all and bring it to them. And then they started, like, a couple days later, they're like, we're all sold out. We need more. So her jewelry business started to slowly grow through Texas. And then she was going up to New York and to the showrooms up there where all the buyers from like Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus come to purchase their items for the upcoming season. And she just relentlessly pitched all these showrooms. And I think she said she was on her 18th or 19th no. And finally someone said yes. And they're like, sure, we'll give you a chance. And so they put her jewelry in their showroom, and then it was picked up by Nordstrom and a couple other department stores. And it's just her by herself. She has no experience doing all this. She's just figuring it out as she goes. And so it was a really inspiring story to show you that if you have a goal, you have a dream, it just takes hard work and determination, and you just can't give up. Every time you hear no, you just have to keep moving forward.
So I was going to ask that too, but back to, so you said you had two major influences. So Kendra Scott.
Yes, Kendra Scott. The other is Andy Grammer. He's a musician.
I know Andy. Where do I know him from?
So he has "Keep Your Head Up" is one of his songs.
That's where I know him from. Yep.
Actually, I went to high school with him.
Did you really?
I did. I didn't know him in high school. Like, I knew who he was. I went to school with 2,000 people. So it was a big high school. I knew who he was. I knew of him. And like some of my, I'm from New York. And some of my friends were like friends with him. So kind of like 2 degrees of separation type of thing.
Cool.
And I remember when he moved out to LA and was trying to make it as an artist, and his first song, Keep Your Head Up, he wrote that after his mom died. And he was at this really deep, dark place of depression. And that was his song for himself. And it resonated with people. And so that kind of gave him his first little lift that he needed. And then he kind of went down after that, and then worked really, really hard. So his story is also really motivating, inspiring to me, because I lost my mom at a young age, at 17. And when I was going through my work bully experience, I literally had his music in my earphones all day long, just trying to stay positive and keep going and trying to get through the situation. So his music was my soundtrack while I was trying to get through the difficult period.
Okay. So let's say that this interview is going to be seen by millions of people. That's millions of people. What is the one thing that you would want to make sure to tell our audience watching today?
Okay, so it's simple, but to me it's profound. And it's don't give up. I would say that is the theme of my life. And I learned that when I was 17, when my mom passed away from cancer. And I was going into my senior year of high school, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I mean, who knows how to deal with losing a parent? What do you do? And I saw how my dad dealt with it. I saw how my sister was 11, and she was just a mess. And it's how do you deal with that? So there's 2 things that you can do. Yes, you're really sad about what happened, and you can't change it. So you have to accept your circumstances and be listen, I'm going to give myself this space to be sad, but I'm not going to give up on myself and my life and what I am here to do as a person. Because if something bad happens to you and you just let it consume you, then you spiral into this deep, dark place of depression. And then what are you going to do now? Now you're sad and depressed, you're not achieving any of your dreams or your goals, and you're just moving through life, kind of letting this event define who you are as a person. So yes, I took my time to grieve, and it took me many, many years to stop crying about it. And I still cry about my mom sometimes when it's her anniversary or her birthday or something. Right. But I didn't let it stop me from living my life. And so, yes, my mom died, but don't give up. I did my best in school because I wanted to make her proud. I got into college that I wanted to go to. I went for my degree. I decided to switch to math after my first year and challenge myself.
That is challenging. I'm still terrible at math. Go on.
So it's just don't give up. Right. I think a lot of people, when it gets hard, it's so easy to just say, you know what, this is too hard, and I'd rather just take a back seat and just coast because it's comfortable. But you can't get comfortable. You have to challenge yourself, and you have to get uncomfortable, and you have to reach for those changes, and you can't give up. When it's starting to get hard and it's starting to get difficult, that's when you have to be even more determined to reach where you're going.
And I noticed too, when you're at that point where something's so hard and it's so difficult and you're about to give up, if you hang in there and you don't give up, here's the hill that you're on, and here's the most difficult part is just before you're at the top. Yeah. And then you've already gotten through that hurdle, and you're back down at the bottom of the hill. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? And then you're slowly climbing up the next challenge. Exactly. But you can't give up.
Yeah, life is a roller coaster. Right. It's all about how you deal with the situations that you're given. So you can either surrender and let it define you and be miserable, or you can just keep going and riding that roller coaster. There's going to be times where it's easy, and there's going to be times where it's really hard. And it's just life. That's what makes you cherish the really good times, when you have those really low lows, because you know how bad it can be. So then when you have the good times, it's really good.
And you appreciate it.
You really appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm so thankful that you started Style Collective, because when I started my blog, and I had a different blog before this, it was sifting through the internet and books and stuff that had starting an internet business, that topic was not about starting a blog, totally different mediums. And Style Collective has helped me so much, and just thank you. So,
Thank you so much for
all right,
having me
I'm gonna
today.
give you a hug too. I hope.
So honored to be here. Thank you.
All right, guys, you heard it here first, my interview with Annie Spano. Make sure to follow Annie on Instagram at Annie Spano and at Style Collective. If you're interested in joining Style Collective, you can click the link below, and I'll link everything afterwards for you guys for the things that we talked about. And I'll see you next time on the Rachel Review. Bye.